people, once they're successful, they feel the hunger much more in themselves to get the next success. I think what we need to do, we need to have a positive attitude towards success. Starting with my wife, who says I can sell everything to everybody except her. That's my motto. So I think in my mind, I've been a salesman all my life. I've been selling ideas. I've been selling myself. I've been selling different things, looking how you can get something done in a way that you succeed. And therefore, sales is something like winning.
I'm interested in the start because you said you considered yourself as a salesperson your whole life.
Yes.
Many people do, but actually many sales reps fall into the field, so to speak. They hadn't planned on it before perhaps they got there. And I'm interested to hear from you about what effect that has on our reps, what that means in terms of coaching, onboarding, bringing people through. And actually maybe for the field more generally, should this be the case or should we change it?
Well, I think, first of all, most people don't know that they are able to sell. So you have to be lucky to find the right space and the right stuff to sell. I think that's the main thing. A lot of people fall into sales and have to sell products which are not really sellable, or which are not mature enough, or where the market is not there, or where they have to develop a market, but they're expected to sell. So, and this has been going through my career as well, because it didn't go up all the time. Sometimes I crashed against the wall because either I was not the right guy to sell a product, or the product was not mature enough, or the expectations were just wrong between the seller and the buyer. So coming out of that and looking at my career, I would say, with the right products and the right attitude and the right community around, inside and outside, lots of people could sell much, much better. And obviously, you would say, is there a tactic in how to succeed? Is there a straight way up? I don't think so. And I've seen many salespeople around. I've been working for large telcos in the past, and I had large teams. I think 15 years ago, I decided that I'm not going to go for these large enterprises anymore, because I don't want to do politics. I want to do what I'm good at, is either selling myself or helping others to sell, or getting a small, decent team up to speed and sell in a proficient way, which is almost impossible in large enterprises. But who are the successful people? What I would say in the first place, it has to be, if you want to be a successful salesperson, you have to be hungry. You want to win. And if you're losing, you want to win double next time. It's simple like that. But if you're, you need to be hungry to win, and you need to be hungry enough to be persistent. That's the next big thing. Selling more complicated products or solutions needs even more persistence than easy products, which everybody wants. But even then, there is not a right way to do it in a way that everybody succeeds. It's a personal thing. Everybody has to find his own way, how to engage with people, how to listen to people, how to close. So what I see the biggest problem of even hungry people is the closing culture. That's something where people are not trained well enough. This is something where I would say, looking at that, closing is, on the one hand side, something people know how to do it, but on the other hand, you never learn it in the right way, because most of the people are either afraid of asking or they're too anxious to ask, and both things don't work. Or they're anxious to get a no, or they're anxious to get a yes, which is, worst thing for a sales guy. Oh my God, they signed. Now the real work starts. So it always depends on the product and the solution you're selling and the team which is behind it. I used to work for a big telco, and I did the resignation myself because my team won so much. And in the next 2 years, these these solutions we sold had to be put in place, and I knew I would burn my name forever in the industry if I would be still there. Because in big telcos, well, at least in the 2000, it was like that. You were selling something which was not done, and it was just then developed and put in place. So yeah, it's a difficult game.
Absolutely. Hunger. Is this something that's innate, or can we breed it into reps?
I think you can breed it in. I think you can awake the hunger. It's coming back to my analogy with what sales is all about. You have to learn it, and you have to learn success as well. And I think what I see is that there's different types of people, obviously, but lots of people, once they're successful, they feel the hunger much more in themselves to get the next success. That's something I think what we need to do, we need to have a positive attitude towards success, and no jealousy and no nothing. That's something, success and sharing success. That's another big thing, I would say, that teams should share success. It's we're the whole culture which has been built, I would say, in the last 30 years, is that one person can win it all. It's always the winner, but actually it's not. There might be leaders who were better than others, but I would say it's rather the teams and getting your reps or the whole team prepared to be successful. That's a very, very important part of it, I would say.
Yeah, I'm interested in that idea of success because on a basic level, and we can disagree with this, but sales is set up to be an individual sport in some ways. You have your own quota, you have your own target, and you achieve or miss that on your own. So how do we breed a culture of shared success when the structure of sales is often designed in a way for independent success?
Yes, and on the other hand, you need this independent personal relationship to win deals. It's different if you're in a department store and sell cosmetics than selling a very complicated IT solution to a very large company which really doesn't know what they really want. That is something different. And obviously you need personal relationships to your buyer if you're a seller, and it has to be multifolded, I would call it, to really be successful. So what does success, I'll come back to your question, but I would explain something. Well, what we see, at least in our part where we are in highly complicated stuff, we need a champion. We need to win a champion. And winning a champion means a lot of time personal relationship. Personal relationship cannot be shared in a team. So you have to have parts in the team who does what. And sometimes it's the technical persons who get the relationship and get the champion running. And the sales has to just walk by it and take the right time and hit at the right time. But this is team. So on the sales side, I would say there always has to be a sales person who's in charge, but this salesperson has to be able to orchestrate, and that's even if you're higher up. And if you're not involved in the deal, you have to see if the orchestration works in a fine way. So who's the champion? Who are we going to sell? Do we need more than one champion? Sometimes, sales is so different. Sometimes it just takes a month to sell something. Sometimes it takes 5 years to sell something. And orchestration is a very important thing. And the next thing, what does really, coming back to the hunger, one of the sayings I'm trying to give, and it's simple words, but it keeps in your mind, is customers never lost, only postponed. That's that kind of hunger, which you do, and which means, on the other hand, as a sales representative, executive, whatever, don't burn anything behind you if you lose. Understand and just say, okay, you can't always win, and next time we win. So coming back in 2 years or 3 years when the contract is over, we'll go back there and go the complicated way. It sounds simple, but it is not, because you have to persistency, and you're getting ghosted from people. Sometimes they come back, and sometimes you wonder why you win, and sometimes you wonder why you lose. But coming back to the real approach that I think I have since university, I had a great professor who was actually doing management. Well, he did marketing management, but he tried to do sales. But and he went on and said he's going for the situational approach. And this situational approach is, in my mind, and this is what I'm trying to bring people who are getting into our organization, or who I talk to, look at the situational approach. What kind of situations do we have? And what do we need to take from there? And every month or every 3 months, take a step back, look at the situation. Has the situation changed? If it hasn't changed at all, we've done something wrong. If it has changed too much and we're not somehow in the flow, we have to change something as well. So, and who are the persons on the other side? So that's something, and I wouldn't call it roles. Really look at the persons. What are they doing? And who always is the champion? You need to have a champion in order to be able to sell. And with the hunger has to be, find the champion, or make somebody champion who didn't know that he would be your champion.
Sometimes we're successful and we don't know why. Something you said a few minutes ago. How do you reverse engineer when success happens, so you can educate the rest of your team and maybe even change a process, strategy, or tactic in order to replicate success and make it repeatable?
Well, it's a very difficult thing, because first of all, it's like my theme I put in the beginning. You're very euphoric and everybody's going, yeah, we did it, we won it. And sometimes it's a very long process where, it's difficult to redo that, because it depends on who you're selling to. It's, I would say, well, we tried that very often to replicate, coming back to the situational approach, which says, okay, this situation is different. We have to do it in a different way. And what I also like very much, and which I try to bring in the teams, is that we have the 2-touch or 3-touch model with the client. So it's not only one person, it's more persons. We talk to a lot of people on the client side in order to bring them a picture of our expertise, which we can help them in. That's something. And as we are resellers, system integrators, so we work quite a bit closely with different vendors. and we're bringing in the vendors as well and trying to. I like the way Cisco did it in the 90s and the 2000s with the two-touch model. It's a channel-based only sales model, but nevertheless, the Cisco persons had to go to the customer as well, and is as if they were selling themselves. This can only work if the relationship between the reseller, integrator, and the vendor works in a proper way, and that you talk the same language. That's something which we see brings us the most success. Bring a team and have a happy team. That's the other thing. Have people happy and hungry on the other side, because there's always pressure. Salespeople are pressured. They have their quotas, and without the quotas, they wouldn't earn that much money, to be honest. And this is why lots of people go into sales, to earn lots of money. If you don't want to earn lots of money, you can still do sales, but you're never going to be the champion of the world. And this is what most of the really hungry people want to be.
If you were in a room full of the best sales leaders to ever live, what would you ask them?
I don't know. I would look at them, and then, I'm old enough to believe that there's no one truth. Yeah. I would ask for war stories, to be honest. So what was the most difficult, was the most funniest, and so on. And this is another thing which I really like, and this is what I like in selling. It's storytelling. You have to have a profound story. You have to have the right stories in your cupboard to cover your counterpart. This is, on the one hand side, small talk, but then it has to be you. It has to be your stories, and it has to be war stories which fit to your customers. So if you have an airline customer, you need airline or hospitality war stories of what happened, and always have a good story. If they want to buy you, they want to hear something from you which charms them, or which puts them in a place that they think you have the right solution, which helps them, at least in the field where we are in, because we're in the very long-term sales. So if you have a relationship with the customer, coming back to the first thing, you have the relationship for a very long time. So in my current role, I'm now 12 years, and I have customers who are with me for the last 11 years. And I hope that, it's like, and we have a relationship, a real relationship, which sometimes gets a little bit more difficult. Sometimes it's great, but you have then the stories to tell. You go to the same exhibitions, you go to conferences, you take the customers along, and this alone builds the personal relationship again. And I would say, being professional on the one hand side, but being leisure enough to go out with these people. That's the next thing. If you're a sales guy, you can't be the first one to go to bed. You have to be the first one to get out of bed, but you should not be the last one, but at least one of the last ones, and take care of what's happening. So that's another thing which salespeople have to be. They have to be part if something goes on. You don't have to be always on the forefront, but you have to be there, and you have to be the person, if something happens, to organize it, that things work very smoothly.